If some of you are under the impression that I watch Sight and Broonkate debates all day, they are not taking into account my drive time. Contrary to what Sight will have you believe, the chances of an accident are higher when you look at YouTube while driving. And this is where James O'Brien comes in. I take it you have a question, said James to his first caller, or victim to you and me. I don't do questions. Mystery Hour is a James O'Brien special. It's the only time when James allows the callers to ask questions. Mate, said James. How do you pronounce your name again? Sight and Broonkate. The only question I do is, how do you know that? Other than that, only answers. Sorry, pal, said O'Brien. The object of Mystery Hour is to find answers to questions. We need a question first. That's what you think. The debate is over and you lost. But if you want a question, here it is. How do you know you're not a giant brain in a giant jar? Wow, said O'Brien, to no one in particular. If I wasn't talking to him, I could swear I was arguing with the tape recorder. Have you got a question? Yes, said the next caller. As a homosexual, I always wondered if it's possible to change my sexual orientation. I'm Christian as well, if it helps. Mate, said O'Brien, as Mrs. O'Brien will happily testify, I am pure hetero, but some of my friends are poor souls like you. Sometimes I wish I was attracted to the likes of you, but unfortunately for you, I'm not. To your question, I know the answer. I support Kidderminster Harriers, but I am sure someone out there has a better answer. Next. My question, said the next caller, is to do with age. As 100-years-old man, I wonder if age is only a number. That's a great question, you old fart, if I may nickname you thus. Myself, I was never old, and I can still take care of my bodily functions, but I'm sure there's a listener out there who cares enough to think of an answer. Now off you go, and try to stay alive until the answer comes back. Next. A question again, I'm afraid, said the next caller. I'm a Muslim, and I have a knife. Hold your camels, bruv, said James. As my daughter's school's principal will tell you, I am a Christian and white, but I can empathize with the likes of you. My advice is, when you stop that policeman, don't shout Allahu Akbar. You'll get a lighter sentence. And folk, I'm trying to eat my dinner in peace. Is there a way I can convey a message of peace to that fat white bloke in the next table? I think he wants me to go back to Luton. Sorry, pal. Obviously, bruv. I ain't no Muslims, as they say. Sometimes I wish I was brown-skinned and my mother was my father's cousin, but sorry, pal. I'm just too civilized. It's not me. It's my superb Christian upbringing. But enough about me. I think it's time for some answers. Have we got any? I have an answer for you, said the next caller. It's about the Muslim with the knife. The question was more about sending signals of intent, said O'Brien. Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. Muslims with knives tend to do that to me. In any case, just try saying something like, I'm a peaceful Muslim. Qualifications? Asked O'Brien, who liked the answer. I learned speech when I was 6. A round of applause followed, which is Mr. Hour's equivalent of $1 million or pounds in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I have an answer, said the next caller. It's to the old man's problem. Has he got any money? I'm afraid he's off the line, said O'Brien, probably snuffed it. But Mystery Hour is for the benefit of all. What's the answer? He can freeze himself, cryogenically speaking, and ask to be woken up in 1,000 years. But we charge for that. Qualifications? I take people's money and freeze them. A round of applause followed, after which James said, next. It's a question, I'm afraid, James, said the next caller. Can God ask a question he cannot answer? Yes, said the next caller, instantaneously. When I last heard the answer to that question, said James, it was, God knows. Well then, said the caller, exactly my point. Can I answer the homosexual gentleman's question as well? That's the object of Mystery Hour, said James. We help our listeners solve their mysteries. Yes, of course, said God. Your sexual orientation is decided by me. And as for me being a giant brain in a jar, I don't know about the jar, which gave God a polite round of applause.